I'm going to see if I can talk about sailing upwind in a catamaran. I've spoken about sailing downwind. I'm going to try and debunk a few theories and ideas as to why some go upwind and why some are so bad going upwind. And the whole keel versus daggerboard thing is part of the problem, but not all of the problem. The biggest part of the problem is actually those things. That is the biggest part of the problem, and the second biggest part of the problem is this thing, where you sheet them to. So sheeting angles are critical, the flappy things are critical, and the shape of the flappy things is even more critical. So I'm going to have a quick look at my one, try and do this and not get too wet. Breeze has eased a little bit, so I'm not going to get saturated, I hope. Yeah, look, Longeron's fairly dry. So when I'm talking about profile, I'm talking about laying down on the trampoline again. The sun might not be helping, but anyway, you'll be able to see my orange stripe there. That's the shape of my sail, and you can see how deep or how full your sail is by looking at things like these stripes in your sail. And this shape here is super critical. And you can see here I've actually got quite a bit of forestay sag as well, and that doesn't help my shape a whole lot, unless it's cut into the luff of the jib. So the tighter I can get that forestay, the more stable my sail shapes become, and the more I can control them. When you got sag in it, you'll see that the sail shape changes a little bit. It gets a little bit fuller every time it sags going into a wave, and it flattens a little bit as it sort of straightens up and comes out of the wave. Right, now this is where most people's sails let them down. This is what lets them not sail upwind so well. So you can only sail as far upwind, oh there you go, there's a bit of a wave, as your entry angle of the jib will let you. So if your jib is quite full and quite saggy and baggy, you're never going to fill it and sail at 32 or 30 degrees of apparent, because it's just too full. The second point is if it's saggy and baggy and your sheeting angle is quite out far open, you know, the sheeting block. So if we look here where my jib sheet goes to the back corner of the boat, I've got quite a big slot from here to here, and this angle of an angle here also limits how far upwind I can go. When I'm in nicer conditions and I don't have to lean on it, I actually set my barber hauler up on my jib and in-haul it towards my boom to close this sheeting angle gap more, so I can sail closer upwind. So cool here with these boobies and turns sailing around the boat at the moment. So this is why you can and cannot sail upwind 90% of the time. Yes, daggerboard boats versus keel boats, there is a small advantage because your daggerboard boat has a little bit more grip in the water than your keel boat, than your keel style catamaran does. But this is 90% of where your problems come from. It's generally from the jib. Now, if you look at my main, okay, yes, I'm in fourth reef, but that's because I'm missing a rudder at the moment, so I can't press on the rudders too hard. But if you look, my main's quite flat. It's not hanging out into the slot too much, but it is driving air. Now we're going to go and have a look at the boom, and we're going to have a look at the section as to how full it is. Okay, so if we look at my battens and my orange stripes, you can see my sail shapes and the twist in the sail and all this sort of thing. You'll notice my sail's quite flat. Now there's a few tools we use in the old Whizzer computer to actually tell us how full, how flat, where the draft is, etc, etc, etc. Gonna have a quick look at my instruments to show what the upwind bit looks like. Now, I'm not upwind because I've got a few waves and all the rest of it. I'm sort of just cracked sheets, but people might relate to this because what do we got? 12 knots of true wind speed, 18 knots of apparent. That's because we're going into the wind. We got the wind coming on our face and we're going into it, so we're increasing the apparent wind speed. So the wind that you feel over the boat is more than what the actual wind is. So we're actually sailing the boat. What the sails feel is at 17 to 19 knots of apparent wind, but the actual true wind is sort of 13 to 14. We're going 7.5 to 8 knots, depending on whether you're looking at the ground or the water, but somewhere around there. My wind angles. So my apparent wind, I've got it down at 40 at the moment. You'll see my autopilot here is on wind to starboard 40 degrees. Because I've got a little bit of slop and all the rest of it, and I haven't got a full third reef to chop away into this with. So I'm down at 40 and my true wind angle's at 60. So we've dragged the apparent wind forward about 20 degrees, similar to what we do downwind, how we drag, you know, the boat's going forward, so we drag the apparent forward. If we go upwind a little bit more, these two actually come together a little bit more aligned. Yeah, probably could, because we kind of go upwind a bit, so I'll bring it up to 38 degrees here and I'll see how we look. This isn't the best thing to do without actually trimming the sails as well. But there we go. Come on. 37, 55. So I can actually, believe it or not, in some conditions, and I was coming up the coast the other day, I can actually sail through 115 degrees. 115? No, 90, 100. 105, sorry. 105 degrees is my tacking angles on this thing at the moment. We've still got speed. Bring it to 35 degrees, keep coming up. I should be slowing down, but we're not. Yes, maybe I was sailing a little bit deep there. But yeah, you can see my apparent wind angles are coming down to, should be coming down to 35 shortly. My rudder's not working too hard, which is good. So there you go, now we're starting to slow down to the 7 knot mark. We're up at 35, 33s and 50s. There we go, now the boat's slowing down into the 6 knot mark. Probably need to trim some sails. Alright, let's go and have a look. Definitely have to pull the main on, I'm sure. Where are we? Okay, look, so we're now sailing inside our jib. And when I say inside our jib, it means that the jib is luffing. So I'm going to need to pull a little bit of this bad boy on. Crank, crank, crank. There we go. We just close the slot up a little bit then. Main sheet, you can see I've actually got it off the back corner here. So if we have a look at my horrible main sheet system. Here's the middle of the boat. If we look up, you can see the boom is off the back corner. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to the middle. So this is why I hate this. To bring it up, normally you just pull the traveller up, but now I've got to ease a bit of this. And then I've got to pull on a bit of this. Alright, let's have a look at our main sheet now. There we go, I'm a little bit closer to the middle now. There we go. Oh yep, now my rudder's working harder. Okay, 7.5 knots, 36, down at 50s. So we're going upwind a bit more now, which is nice. I know I can actually sail up at 32s. So I'll bring it up there. we'll see how we look. Yeah, so that's our first look at our bits on going upwind, but we'll have a look. Woo, waves. Yeah, it's probably a little bit too. Bring it back down to 35. So there you go. If I had a little bit more mainsail up, I can sail at these tighter angles, and my rudders work a little bit harder. But when you've got two rudders, you use them actually like your daggerboards. And the reason why you want a little bit of weather helm is that your rudder's straight ahead, and when you're going upwind with a bit of weather helm, your rudder looks like this. So the wind's coming from my right hand side this way, and I'm trying to go up into the wind, which is that way. The rudder's straight ahead. When you got weather helm, your rudder's pointing into the wind a little bit, so it's actually pointing like that, trying to rotate the boat down into the wind. When you have it like this, it's actually lifting the stern to windward a little bit, because the sail is actually trying to rotate the boat around into the wind. So having a little bit of weather helm is actually a good thing for going upwind, but 12 degrees and 10 degrees is not. That's sort of just stopping and slowing the boat. So I need to drop off a little bit, get my boat speed, get some grip in the water. So doing this with one rudder is not ideal. Probably not the best thing to show with one rudder, but you'll get the idea. Okay, let's go down to 37 again, see if we can pick some speed up. I'll drop the traveller down, and that's the other reason I had the traveller down. By easing the main a little bit, it lessens the reduces the load on the rudder, and it actually makes us go faster. So instead of just easing traveller, I've got to ease that, now pull this one off. Such a dumb idea for a main sheet. Okay, everything looking like it's flying. My little pink telltale's flying away. Woohoo! All good. My woolies on my headsail are all flying up and down and flapping around and around. There you go. A little bit of boat speed back into the 7 knot region, and oh, hello. A couple of boobies hanging around. And yeah. Sailing across a little passage between St. Lucia over there and Martinique over here. Cool. Oh, hello birdie. Don't fly through my sail. So cool. So I just shook out reef 4 because it wasn't fast or high enough, even though I got one rudder. So my numbers are up, my boat speeds are up into the mid 8s now. I'm at 37, I'm supposed to be sailing at 35, so I can bring it down to 34, and I'm still in the 8s. Now the interesting thing is boat speeds are really important going upwind. If I'm going too slow, I haven't got enough grip with my daggerboards, and I haven't got enough grip with my rudder. So keeping my boat speed up into the 8s, but I'm now up higher just because I took a reef out. It's a little bit eased, but the balance of more sail area versus more load on the rudder is, I seem to have got it not too bad. And of course, because I've got a bit more boat speed now, I've got a little bit more grip on that rudder as well, so it's got a little bit more water to hold on to. So you can see I was sailing at 40 degrees before with 60 degrees of true. I shook the reef, balanced the main out, and I've still got the same sort of boat speed, but I'm now sailing higher. So let's go and have a look at the sail and what I did. Alright, bird's still following us around. So, looking up the main here, you can see I've got more main up. You can see my 4th reef hanging out there. And I'm reasonably twisted. It's open and it's flowing, but because I've got more sail area there, it's driving. Look, I need to pull a little bit more headsail on because I'm sailing just inside the headsail, because I didn't pull it on after coming up that little bit. Another half turn. A little bit of load on there. There we go. Have a look at that. And let's go and have a look at our sail shapes on here, and I'll take a photo as well. See what it looks like. Yeah, you can see we're definitely driving the boat a little bit harder now. A little bit more spray over the bows. There we go. So we're going to have a look at my wonderful amount of forestay sag. Yep, there's plenty there. Saggy as Nana's knickers, like I said before. And you'll see that my mainsail is still, you know, quite nice and flat. I can actually pull a little bit of mainsail on, because you can see about here the main is actually flapping in a little bit. So yeah, and the bird's still hanging around. Gonna have a look. So here we are at reef 3 now, looking up at the sail. Sorry for the wobbliness, but there's some speed bumps in the water here. So you can see the sail shape in this bottom batten, my speed stripe, and in the head. And that the head's opening up reasonably nice. Now, to make this one step better, I would rotate the mast, but because I haven't got all my instruments sorted yet, I haven't got the mast rotation angle sensor working. I'm not rotating it because it turns everything to cackapoos. But it definitely gives us a lot more height and speed when I do rotate the mast. So it is one that's worthwhile doing, but having my instruments go all cackapoos is a pain in the bum, so not running it at the moment.